get ready for the next question. Now, this is and again, just selecting these from the cards. This one's a rather interesting one. It says, as a county commissioner, what do you see as the biggest challenge for the county coming up in future years, and how would you deal with it?
Sure. I think, and this is something that Rod has talked about a lot and is particularly qualified for, is just planning for the growth that we're experiencing already, and that is coming in the near future, most likely, whether it be from NDAF or any other number of different opportunities and proposals that are out there. But is making sure that we are thinking smart now, so that we're not paying for it 20 years down the road. And we've been talking about that up here right now. Because 20 years ago, or whenever it was, there wasn't the decision made that we need to spend this money now on these roads and bridges so that we don't have to spend so much more later. And that's a tough decision sometimes, because it's not always popular. It might be a situation where we have to spend some extra money now to save money in the long run. And it's hard for elected officials to think with such long-range point of view, because most of them can't think past 4 years for obvious reasons. So it's just going to be making the tough decisions and making sure that we are planning ahead and we're not doing anything that's going to tie our hands down the road. We don't, when you're talking about maybe a mill here or there going up to improve things like roads and bridges, remember that we have this quarter-cent sales tax because we didn't do it back then. And so it all comes back, and it all comes around full circle. And so just remember, just for me, I think it'll be remembering that even if something might not be the most popular thing right now, it might be the most prudent thing in the long term. So I think that's what I would think.
I'd have to agree. I think that if we do this quarter-cent sales tax, if we find we have more money left over when this project is completed, that we ought to save the money for the future of the roads and bridges that need to be repaired, because there's a lot more of them that will be going downhill as we go along too. In the future, after these are replaced, there's more that will need replacing down the road, and I think we need to save our dollars and plan for the future.
Well, I think the most important thing to me that we have to be concerned about is taxes, because if we're not good stewards like we have been, how long as the city grows and this county grows can we keep the taxes in line? We can look at efficiencies and the things that are coming up, but there are going to be problems that are going to face us, and there's going to be choices. For example, does this county need to grow as far as where the building is going to be? I mean, do we have sufficient building and all? How would that be considered? Would that be financed? Is that going to be a priority as it relates to where it would be as far as taxes are concerned? I think that it's hard to look ahead and determine exactly what are the things that are going to face us in the next 4 years. But one thing you can be absolutely sure of is taxes has to be a strong consideration in today's economy. And I think we need to do everything we can as we make those decisions to weigh the priorities that we're going to be faced with and come up with a decision on what can we afford and what can we not afford to continue to serve the people of Riley County and to get all the jobs done and done as efficiently as possible. And we can't answer that here tonight. Those things you're going to have to just rely on us as if two of us will be elected to try to listen and determine, where those priorities are going to be and what's going to be the most important. It's not going to be decided by one commissioner. It's going to be decided by citizens that want to have things. They bring them to the commissioners, the county commissioners, and to the staff who will give you all the different reasons of what their priorities are. You have to be able to sort those out. It's not easy, to pick and choose, and you've got to make those tough decisions when they come to you as a commissioner.
To me, the biggest challenge, whether it's in your personal relationships or with your friends, or is simple communication. It's the communication between the city government and the county government, because we are a dynamic community. The city is growing. 116 single-family permits in the first 6 months of the year. That pace is ahead of what Wichita State forecast. That pace is over 100 acres of land being gobbled up. That's my and my wife's land every year being gobbled up. So we have to plan ahead for that. The city and county have to work together. And you save money by planning. I mean, that's my education. I was in a meeting this morning where Pottawatomie and Riley County were represented, the cities represented, other entities are represented, talking about a thoroughfare. You want to know where thoroughfares are going. You want to reserve the right-of-way. You don't want people building houses, platting, and commercial properties getting in there, because if you have to go through or move that road, it costs a lot more money. So we got to plan ahead. And growth, whether we like it or not, is here. And I'm talking before MBAF. You know, again, whether you like MBAF or not, we are growing. The 19 to 29 age cohort has experienced rapid growth in Manhattan, and it's not changing. And we all know what 19 to 29-year-olds do. They have families, and those families here, we have a high quality of life. People are moving here because of that quality of life, and that population alone is going to put us in a 7 to 8% growth mode, in my opinion. So the key is, with that growth, how does government stay out ahead? You know, we can say government's good and government's bad, but that is government's role. We can't all as individuals understand those things. We got to count on our elected officials to do that for us and be thinking ahead.
I will say one thing, Raleigh County, we're very fortunate to have a very stable county right now, but we have a lot of issues coming up. One of the problems that Raleigh County has is topography. We don't lend ourselves well to a lot of development. Primarily, that's done through the city of Manhattan annexing areas. And I'm not concerned about a large amount of growth in Raleigh County at the time. One of the things I'd like to see, I haven't heard much response on Raleigh County side on the Marlatt Avenue extension. And right now, for me to visit relatives of mine over in Pottawatomie County, when they finish the stoplight at XL Road, I will have from east side to west side of town 17 stoplights on a high-speed bypass around Manhattan. This won't occur during my time when I'm in. However, I would like to continue working with Pottawatomie County and give them the encouragement, because right now they're spending the money on studying the bridge across the river and connections on the east side. And as long as they're willing to spend the money, I think Raleigh County Commissioner should encourage them, offer all the encouragement that we can. Another thing, real quickly, is Wildcat Creek flooding. And it's cost my renter a lot of money. It cost one of my previous customers over $1 million. And I had ideas that worked on Little Kid Creek. It was about as rampant as Wildcat Creek, and they finally listened, and we worked with some of the county people there when they put in Cobra Hills. The detention areas are working. Little Kid Creek in 2007, twice, 2010, 2011, was nearly not much over half what it was in 1977, 1986, 1993. So that's one of the most immediate challenges to me, is to keep the floodwaters out of Manhattan, Kansas. It doesn't flood in the county necessarily, but we're going to be the ones that are going to have to do the work.
I couldn't agree with Ron and Rod anymore. We've got a plan. Planning is cheap. We plan early, and we can afford things. But we have to plan and grow in a manner that we can afford. It's terribly important. We've got to keep our taxes low. So that requires us, that's incumbent on us to do prudent planning. Infrastructure. We talk about roads, but that's I think we're all in agreement. We need better transportation around the county. Other parts of infrastructure are communications, energy. We need better energy, both electric and BTUs, out in the county. We need better communications out in the county. For goodness sakes, AT&T controls several trunk lines and haven't provided high-speed internet to our rural county. If we want our county to grow for these young people that are coming, we can't do it here in Manhattan. We're going to have to grow out in the county. That's where we're going to prosper. And we have plenty of places for it to grow. Cooperation with our neighbors is a must. We've got to get involved. We've got to provide the leadership and build consensus amongst the neighboring counties. That includes Cloud, that includes Clay, that includes Gary, Potawatomi. We've got to get them all involved, and we've got to get the fort involved. And we must build a consensus. We've got to have the leadership to put us together, put us on the right path, and we've got to agree to that path. Thank you.